Hello everyone, welcome back to the United Star and welcome back to another episode of our out column of players. Going into January, we're looking at players that aren't really performing very well, that look like there's writing on the wall, or if there's actually a debate to keep them at the football club. We've already done Harry Maguire. Today we're talking about probably the most worrying one, in my opinion. I've got Charlie here with me to talk over Jadon Sancho. Charlie, just initial thoughts on Sancho's season so far and where it's gone wrong, because it has, hasn't it?
Well, it's a strange one because I think he actually started the season quite well.
I did, yeah.
In terms of vital goals. He scored against Liverpool, just off the top of my head. And I just think, you know, players go through peaks and troughs, but Sancho seems to go through like 2 games and then he just drops off a cliff. It's not even like, oh, a couple of good games and then an off game, but don't worry, he comes back. It is just worrying when does he get better? When does he become this Sancho that we bought? It never seems that so far we haven't seen the 83 million signing that we've had for a consistent run of games. And that is the worry, isn't it? Especially for Manchester United as a whole, the investment that they've put into the player, you know, they're not getting what they've put in out. So, you know, hopefully this kind of time away that he's having to, you know, fix his, whether it's mental health, physical health, both. Hopefully, yeah, it only works wonders for him, and you know he comes back that player, because I really do think, and this is why it's so frustrating. He can be a brilliant player for Manchester United. He is the old school street style footballer, technically unbelievable, and I feel like if at the start of the season someone asked me who's 3 players that Ten Hag will come in and they will thrive under him, Sancho would have been one of them. So it is such a shame to see that hasn't happened so far.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at everything that's going on with Sancho right now and everything that's been said and come out, because I feel like some of the off-field does reverberate and then move into the on-field side of his game and what's happened to him at Manchester United, especially this season. But he's deleted all social media. He's not responding to anything. He's took himself out of the limelight as such. And when a player does that, a player at the age of 23, it does sort of border on like, right, obviously there's a mental issue here. Yeah. Rather than, I wouldn't say his fitness or his physicality or anything like that is off point. But going away, just concentrating on yourself physically, I do believe that there is a massive element of mentally as well there, because
that would be the main thing, I think.
You do not get players coming off social media like that, deleting posts so you've got like a blank account. That's just unheard of, especially with a profile of someone like Sancho, who has been one of England's brightest young prospects over the last 5 years, and we've looked at him as like the next best thing a lot of the time, but it's just fallen away. Do you feel like he was a victim to the carnage that was Manchester United when he came in from Dortmund, thinking he's got his big move, and now under Solskjaer it didn't work? Ronaldo came in, took the limelight away, probably wasn't part of the plan. He's just been knocked from pillar to post. He's been at United, it's only his 2nd season, he's only his 4th manager now? Yeah. You feel like there is an element of that to it, and he's just been, like a lot of players, have been messed around quite a lot the last year.
Well, there was actually a time earlier on this season, I think, where he'd had more managers than he'd actually scored goals for Manchester United, which isn't a good look. No. But look, maybe it's, you know, expectations and dealing with the pressure. Obviously, that is it's something that it's very easy to sit here and go, you know, you just don't know what people are going through, right? Especially at the highest level of sport, in terms of what people, you know, when you get a price tag put on you, and this goes for, you know, even Harry Maguire, you know, when a price tag gets put on you, it can be very difficult to deal with, because expectation does come with that, and it's not really, you know, you're not the one who determines your price tag, so it is unwanted expectation, right? And I think when he's had such a good time at Dortmund, the automatic assumption is he's going to do that in the Premier League, right? You know, the Bundesliga, it's not the greatest of leagues, but it is, you know, Dortmund still do qualify for the Champions League. He's played in the Champions League, scored, assisted. So the automatic assumption is he's going to come over here and do it for us. And unfortunately, that just hasn't happened. And I think the main thing with him is, and I allude back to it, consistency. There has been no consistency. I mean, if there is, it's been consistently bad performances, if anything. And there's glimmers, there's little times where, yeah, he might put in a good half an hour, good 20 minutes, but more often than not, you see around that 60-minute mark, he comes off, or he's sat on the bench and goes on with 20 minutes to spare, and you might think he's going to play well, and he doesn't. So when does this time come when he comes good? It should be soon, hopefully. It's
like that. It's how much of the on-field actions and on-field stuff has affected what happens off it, because he'd have thought he was a surefire thing. Coming into Manchester United, he was playing regular for England when he was playing at Dortmund. He's just seen all his close mates, and they are all quite close. You can see with the England group, they've all gone away competing in the World Cup.
That must be difficult to deal with, mustn't it? It's like, it's the classic FOMO, like fear of missing out, isn't it?
Yeah.
You literally are seeing your group of mates go on as much as it's not a holiday, but a holiday to some extent, and loving it, and you're not a part of that. And yeah, it can't be easy.
That's it. I mean, you look at Manchester United and how Jadon Sancho gets back in. Jadon Sancho on form, and I think this is the part of the mental block that he's going to have to come up against. Because at Dortmund, he was a surefire starter every single time. He was brilliant. Everything was hunky-dory, and it is a great stepping stone for a lot of professionals, a lot of young English professionals now in the German Bundesliga, especially at Dortmund. But when you come to Manchester United, and everyone would say it, managers have said it, players have said it, you have to accept the size of the football club you're moving to. Sancho on top form, and I'm talking like prime Dortmund, do you still think he gets into this team right now?
See, this is the difficult thing, you bring in...
He has to get over that.
You bring in Anthony, and we obviously did the Maguire video, and I think this is completely different. I still do see very much a future for Sancho at Manchester United, 100%. I love him as a player. I think he's someone, as I said...
What is his best attributes for you?
I just think it's that rawness, like street footballer. You go back to the Adel Taarabt type players that are just, you have absolutely no idea what they're going to do. They're tricky. He's quick over the first 5 yards, and he's not. I know a lot of people want to see. They compare him to Marcus Rashford in terms of like blistering pace and kind of taking 2 or 3 people on just with that alone. He's not that type of winger. He's very much ball progression and then keep it, move it on. There is obviously the kind of thing which he needs to improve on, which is beating a man more often, or at least attempting to, right? You don't expect him to beat a man every single time, but no, and this again is why it's probably so much harder for me to accept, is that we all know he is so good. So it's almost, and it seems like he's been here a lot longer, but for me it's almost getting to the point now where I see the fan base, it's like now or never. Not right now, obviously, but in terms of this season, if it doesn't somehow even show improvement, if it's just plateau, then again, it's not Ten Hag signing, is it? So
this is what, do you know what, I look at this and I go, I feel like this is because of how badly Manchester United have been run as well. Because I look at an example and I'll go, a settled team, everyone knows the ethos, everyone knows the philosophy at Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. You look at Phil Foden, he's been bigged up as the best English young talent coming through every single rank. He's got to the main stage, and it's a little bit different because there's no price tag, and that does affect things. But Foden's come in, and the next big thing, and Pep's put him right back in his place. It's like, no, I am.
Yeah.
And this whole ethos, everything about Manchester City is bigger than what you are, and you will wait your turn. And it's up to you, and you need to prove your mentality to me that you're prepared to sit and wait for your chance, learn how to keep your spot when you get into this team. And that mentality, I feel, is what Ten Hag is just at the start of doing right now. And like I said, Sancho, guaranteed starter under his manager at Dortmund. I can't even remember who it was, the manager at the time when he came. He's come to Ole. Ole would be a guaranteed starter for him, no problem. We know what Ole's like. One of Ole's signings, big price tag, he has to play him. Everything is changing at Manchester United now. The whole philosophy and the whole way that the club is being run has completely turned 180. And I said it before, he's had 4 managers. He's been messed around a little bit, but I feel like he has to learn and adapt to being and living and playing at a football club, a big football club now. And that's that step that will make you or break you as a superstar, because he's got superstar attributes, I feel like. You said he's a great player, but I do believe that the way Manchester United has been run the last decade, I think he's a victim of what's gone wrong at the football club as well.
Again, it comes down to expectations in terms of, and I'm sure they have, but a new manager's come in, and again, it's not his signing, so they need to have that conversation of what Ten Hag expects from Sancho and what Sancho expects in return as well, right? And that's something that I'm sure they've had multiple conversations over the time that Ten Hag's been brought in. So, look, it's almost repeating myself from the Maguire video, but if Sancho is prepared and needs to remember almost how young he is and how much, he did have those great seasons at Dortmund, but how much he can offer Manchester United in the long run, if he's prepared to sit and learn off of the players around him and wait for that chance, then, fair play to him, and he will be a great player for United. Like I'm sure, if he's willing to sacrifice and put in the work needed, etc.
That is it. It's all about him again. We said it with the Maguire one. We said it's down to him and how this works. I feel like Ten Hag sees more in Sancho. Yeah. Personally, from the outside looking in, I think he knows the limits of Maguire, but I feel like he sees more potential in Sancho.
There's a player there, isn't there?
There is, and he's spent time in taking him away, recommending these coaches. I'm sure he would have played a part, Ten Hag, in what he's doing off the pitch right now as well, in terms of the socials and things like that. There would have been a lot of conversations. There is a clear mental problem at the moment, and obviously mental health and everything being the way it is, it has to be looked into. And yeah, people would say, look, you're a millionaire, you're a superstar footballer, you've got the world at your feet, you shouldn't even be thinking about the mental health issues. It's not like that. Everyone lives to their means.
It's the easiest thing to do from the outside, isn't it?
And everyone can judge easily, like you said, because of that sort of role and how they're seen in the public eye. He needs the help. I think the club will give him the help. And I do believe that Ten Hag is the exact manager he needs right now. And that's the biggest thing.
A coach.
Yeah, 100%. He knows young players. He can see when some are struggling. I just don't feel we've had a manager in place that is going to see that side of things. I feel like Ten Hag is the full package, and why the club are getting behind him so much. It is a long-term project. And Sancho, I'm with you, Charlie. I don't know what you guys think. I feel like Sancho, in terms of time to go, I don't. I think that Sancho's got a future at Manchester United, but he does need to pull his finger out on the pitch at times. He needs to realise where he's playing. He needs to realise that he has to work harder. Hopefully this time away, he will learn from it. And when things start going well on the pitch, I'm confident that things off the pitch will just coincide.
Yeah, it's almost the snowball effect of, when that momentum that he needs to build in terms of you train as you play, and then obviously playing just comes natural. And I think, again, he just needs a run of good games and a run of good form, and he will show what his ability is and what he can offer to the team. I think he can be a ridiculously good player for United.
100%. Guys, let us know what you think. That is Jadon Sancho in another one of our videos in terms of the January transfer window coming up. We're not saying that all these players are going to go, but all these players will be looking at their futures, and we are highlighting a certain amount of players because there has been a drop-off, or certain things have been said, like Maguire, like Sancho. These are big, big players. Let us know what you think. Let us know where you think Sancho fits into this team. The inverted winger from the left, like he has been under Ten Hag, does he have to accept that that is where he is going to play? Will he get a chance back on the right-hand side? I'm not sure with the way Ten Hag is. Maybe there's an element of Ten Hag saying to him, look, this is where I see you playing. I want you to go away and learn this. There's a lot of ways you can look at it. The off-field stuff as well. Let us know what you think, guys. Myself and Charlie have said there's a player in Sancho, and we do feel like he deserves the time and the help from the club where he's needed, and hopefully we see the reward back on the pitch when he comes back and puts that United shirt on. But guys, that's it for another episode. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the United Stand, and obviously get your comments in below on everything that me and Charlie have spoken about today, and we will see you on the next one.